Commissioner Mike Morath is a strong supporter of the Lesson Study professional development model, which has been successfully implemented in California, Chicago, New York, and Florida. Here is a chance to put your district on the map by participating in an innovative state initiative that elevates and celebrates the teaching profession. Texas Lesson Study is job-embedded, teacher-driven, collaborative learning experience designed to help educators become researchers of their own practice. Educators experience increased confidence, allowing districts to build an army of teacher leaders prepared to impact learning outcomes for all students.
And Japanese lesson study is not new. The other appeal to this was it's been going on in the country of Japan for hundreds of years, and in that country there are distinct cultural differences, right? So in Japan, if you are a teacher in that country, you just do lesson study. Like, it's just their only form of PD. It's an inquiry-based, job-embedded form of professional development. And I believe it has the potential to strengthen PLCs. So if you have professional learning communities going on in your districts, and you might, I'm just saying, do you ever have any teachers groan when you say PLC? I'm not trying to be funny, but I've done the groaning myself. I believe that it has the potential to re-energize and reimagine PLC work. The commissioner in this particular initiative, he's only seeking about 10% of Texas teachers participating. That would be about 35,000 teachers across the state. It began last year in its original pilot. It was only happening in 3 regions. It's now expanded to 16 of the regions. I think of it kind of like, it's funny, someone said this to me recently, kind of like a reading recovery model, because I'm only at this time serving in 2 districts, 2 campuses within those districts. So I go out once a week and I meet with these teachers who volunteered. There was no voluntold. The first thing you need to know about lesson study, if you want to research and do it, please do not ever go and say teachers do this. This is not for the faint of heart. This is the kind of rigorous professional development that will shape them forever. But if they are not invested and they feel voluntold, you are dead in the water. It gives teachers a myopic focus. For an entire semester, they get to think about one thing. Here's what we do. We meet once a week. The teachers think about a problem of practice. Do we all have that? The classroom teacher is like, man, I've been trying to teach summary this way forever, and I've been beating my head against the wall because it's really hard. And they begin a research process. Now that we're about into phase 3 and I've lived one of the initial teach experiences, it is also like graduate level coursework. We didn't realize this until about 6 to 8 weeks in. These folks were signing up to do graduate level coursework. The research that they do on that problem of practice literally has to be peer-reviewed articles. And for some of my teachers, they were like, what's that? Because they have, and I see it as a beautiful path for educators to pursue higher education. We're working as a group right now to talk about, there is a $500 stipend currently as part of the initiative. So the teachers who participate invest a semester of their lives. They study this problem of practice for weeks. I meet with them upwards of 2 hours every week, and I facilitate the learning, I facilitate the process. Then they go live. It's a project-based learning experience because they're going to execute the co-created lesson. Vertical teams, classroom teams, however you want to do it. They went live yesterday, and it was the most beautiful experience I've ever had in my life. It really was a phenomenal thing. So once the teachers go live, it is videotaped, and the initial teach is done just kind of in-house videography, swivel cameras, things of that nature. They then have a whole afternoon of debriefing. There are sub-days built into the project. And so we spent the afternoon unpacking what worked, what didn't work, and here's the beautiful thing. Japanese Lesson Study says this: it's not about improving the teacher. It's about improving teaching and getting eyes to see kids and how, John Hattie's Know Thy Impact? So John Hattie says that the most important thing is when teachers know that the moves they make impact learners. And until we have the space and the time to really consider that, how do we really expect them to feel like professionals? So a couple of little clips that I've heard from the teachers involved. First thing they say is, this is crazy hard. This is not for the faint of heart. This is really tough work. It has changed me. I had an educator say yesterday, for 20 years, I didn't even know that this research stuff was out there and available to me to help me improve my practice. and that's in a rural Texas school district. So these folks are dedicated. They then revise the lesson. Region 10 sends out like major video crews, like the real deal kind, and it gets recorded and it goes up on the Gateway. And those lessons from last year's pilot are there in the Gateway. If you have not experienced or looked up Texas Lesson Study in the Gateway, you can go and see. They are trying to build a repository of research-based lessons that educators built and designed.
Hi, it's Livia, and it is now a little bit over a month since I started the Texas Lesson Study journey with my Hodge teammates. As I reflect on the way things have been going, I can't help but feel excited. As an educator, I know the importance of letting your students know that they are in control of their own learning. And as an educator, the Texas Lesson Study allows me to do the same. I am in control of my own professional development. So there is a process. We first pinpoint an area of struggle in our classroom. We research it, and then we create a lesson based on the research that we did. We deliver the lesson, come back, reflect, and tweak it to best meet our students' needs. Now, when I think about my own personal gain and what I have learned, I know that as a second-year teacher, I reflect on everything I do. Even last year, I would deliver a lesson and ask myself what went well, what didn't go so well, and how can I make it better. Well, before I learned how to research something, I noticed that question of how can I make it better became very difficult. I often found myself too shy to ask my team for help or embarrassed to ask others. So this helps me stay in control of my own learning. I'm able to research something and still be meeting that best practice for my students because I was able to pinpoint that struggle and research it.
Well-prepared, knowledgeable teachers have the greatest impact on student success. Simply put, teachers are critical to students being successful. When I think of lesson study is the link to that student success. Lesson study allows teachers to not only collaborate, but to really dig down into the research of a problem of practice, to teach the lesson, to observe one another along with knowledgeable experts, as well as have the opportunity to observe and then go back and reflect. Lesson study is so much more than one-stop professional development. Lesson study allows teachers to actually take the new learning and transfer it almost immediately for the benefit of students. This job-embedded professional learning, I believe, is one of the ways that we are going to help students reach their goals. And when students reach their goals, we as educators reach ours. When we strengthen teachers, we strengthen students. Lesson study is that answer. Give it a try.